Hello, everybody, and welcome! Eric has another blind campaign in the books, and as you just said before you recorded this, you can't believe there's only 3 more left to go before you've caught up to what is everything in print at the time of recording this video. If you're watching this in 2041 and you're like, you're missing the poop color of Cthulhu, Hastur Strikes Back.
Fucking love Hastur Strikes Back.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
With those ones didn't exist when we recorded this video, so, you know.
We have no idea how good they are.
Yeah, they're probably great from the sounds of it.
I just love the Hastur one. It automatically starts at 5 out of 10 and can only go higher than that.
Dude, that's the lowest point.
Yeah.
I have a Hastur bias because he is the coolest ancient
If Justin
one.
opened up the box set and it just had one token that just said Hastur on it, Justin would be like, what does this mean?
I'd be like, 6 out of 10. That's pretty good.
That's not the worst campaign I've played.
So we haven't done your upgrading this since you last played. Because we did, a while ago, I had you rank all of the campaigns you've played so far. And for context, for people watching at home, Circle Undone, least liked campaign. That changed?
Nope.
Then Forgotten Age.
Yep.
Then Path to Carcosa.
Yep.
Then Dream Eaters.
Yep.
Then Dark Matter.
Yep.
Then Hemlock.
Yeah.
So Hemlock exists between Dunwich and Dark Matter. Dunwich is still your favorite?
Dunwich is still my favorite.
All right. We're going to talk about...
Actually, no. I lied.
Oh.
Hemlock might be my top.
All right. So we'll put that in there right now. So currently, Hemlock Vale Hemlock Vale is... there's a lot of what Eric likes in that one.
There really is.
I'm not surprised that you dig it that much.
When you eventually come to me and say we have to start replaying them all now, the first one I'm going to want to do is Hemlock Vale.
Hell yeah,
that tells me it's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you down to even replay the ones you don't like?
I am down for one of them.
That's really funny.
No, I do want to play them both. I do want to retry them.
Yeah.
I would love to play a version of the Circle Undone where I get told what's happening.
Yes. So we're going to see where Innsmouth sits on this after this. I'll be sure to actually remember to do that this time. But let me just ask to start this off. General sentiment before we get into things. What did you think of Innsmouth?
I thought Innsmouth was great. I think Innsmouth is about as easy as Dark Matter. So I think it's probably one of the easiest campaigns they've ever created. That's partially because you played a very aggressive character, and I played a very effective character as well. But even just then, the scenarios felt here. I was trying to figure out how to phrase this, and I think what it is it's telegraphing. Innsmouth has, in my experience, the least number of weird twists and unexpected things that change the game and mean that if you don't know what's coming, you're going to fall behind on tempo and you're going to die. Innsmouth tells you kind of what you're going to have to deal with. All the changes that come make a lot of sense. Whenever we flipped over the acts and agendas, it never felt like there was something completely new being brought in that completely threw me off. Even little things like... yeah, you want to start with all these keys, and then, there's extra keys. You're like, I should probably collect the extra keys. There's going to be a good reason to do that.
That's a very interesting perspective, and one that I've actually, haven't really thought about, but you're right. So something that a lot of people actually complain about is the plot twists that happen in a scenario that you didn't see coming. And I think the idea of those being telegraphed is where that disconnect lies. I think Innsmouth also has that structure because the majority of the scenarios just have one actor agenda, where it's just like, go, do this, right?
Yeah.
And there's not many twists that come with it.
And when it does put in twists, again, it tends to warn you about them. So when an evil sea captain is coming, you hear him coming.
Yeah.
The game really is like, hey, by the way, this is happening. This is the ultimate net result of if you don't pay attention.
Yeah.
Or if you don't keep up. And I think that that's actually primarily what made Innsmouth easier. I actually noticed that quite a lot of the enemy stats and everything this time were quite a bit higher than normal. And yet I was dealing with them incredibly easily because I knew I was running a good deck, but I also kind of knew that they were coming, and I knew that was coming. Things like flood levels and stuff like that very clearly telegraph themselves. They're like, hey, this thing starts unflooded, it's going to go up, and then it's going to go up again, and then bad things are going to happen.
Yeah, so it's like you weren't surprised with the location being flooded, because for the majority of the time, not all the time, you felt the water actually rising as opposed to the water already being where it was.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And for a campaign with so much broken linearity, I think the telegraphing actually was hugely effective. Yeah, personally.
Nice. What would you say are the biggest strengths of the campaign that you found?
Oh, goodness. Probably one of the biggest strengths of the campaign is the key mechanic. The key mechanic is the first time I think that it's done a good job. Because, like, okay, victory is good to try and lure players into doing more. But I think the key mechanic and the way that it connected to finding new resources for your deck, as well as getting more flashbacks, as well as doing other stuff, really encouraged me to be like, no, let's not just speed through the scenario. Let's try to keep tempo up while also doing all these secondary agendas. I think that was really, really strong. I think that this format really benefited from a tight and consistent enemy type. Circle and Done has so many different kinds of enemies and so many different themes and thematic feelings. It's not my strongest. And I'm realizing all of my top 3 have a consistent enemy roster. So in this one, it was deep ones. In Hemlock Vale, it's a different thing. In Dunwich, it's 2 specific factions you end up dealing with constantly. And I think that was an incredible strength to it, because I feel like it also forced them design-wise and creation-wise to come up with a lot of weird deep ones, which really made them interesting. And it really gave you a sense that there was something cooking under the ocean, and things were happening in Innsmouth that felt very weird and very corruptive.
Can I ask a question? Do you think that the enemies felt more cohesive because they had a unifying mechanic connecting them, which was the on-engage, do something bad?
I think that was also good too.
Yeah.
I think that also went a long way towards making the enemies feel more interesting as well. Having the enemies get to activate on and then move, or activate and do something on engagement, felt really strong. It actually made them feel more threatening, which, again, I think their stats are slightly higher, so that wasn't bad either. They seem to really be designed towards evasion.
Yep.
Fighting them directly seemed to be kind of where their strength was. And I thought that was good. I will say that compared to Path to Carcosa, I don't think we got enough chance to explore, to me, what was supposed to be the highlight of the original Innsmouth Lovecraftian horror story, which was people becoming fish people.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of that in some of the scenarios, but I don't think we got enough of it.
Yeah.
And I think that Arkham has clearly, Fantasy Flight Games has clearly indicated they know how to do that.
Yeah.
With that one scenario in Path to Carcosa, I would have liked something like that in this.
Yeah, even like kind of like, this is a criticism I've heard a bunch, is I think it's kind of, they were kind of defeated by previous Arkham Files games where like the deep one look was implemented really well. In this one, it's just an encounter card you get in like a few scenarios and doesn't actually impact it. Someone made a fan-made Return to that had those like a deep one look, but I do think it would have been cool to have like a mechanic that was like you turning into a deep one, or like a character turning into a deep one that actually like changed them as they went.
When you mentioned that there was a hidden ending to the campaign that if we were lucky, we were going to get, I assumed it was us becoming deep ones, and I was really sad it wasn't, because I think that would have been sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think too, even if we didn't become deep ones, I think Hemlock Vale and Path to Carcosa were both really, really good for being like, here's some recurring cast. Watch as they get weird.
Yeah.
And this scenario, the Innsmouth look, is the scenario for doing that.
Yeah.
And I didn't think they did.
Yeah, I think a big thing is that the structure of the campaign, where it was like getting your memories back, I think took up a lot of space that could have otherwise been explored. With that said, how did you feel about the story structure being the idea of getting back memories and kind of bouncing between the two timelines?
I thought it was actually pretty good. The biggest payoff for it was after one particular character is lost in a particular way, getting to come back and meet that character again is actually a bit of a feels bad moment, and I really quite enjoyed that. I do think that the twist at the end about the characters and things that you learn about them was a little on the weaker side. I think that there was a point in the campaign where I felt that the flashbacks weren't really necessary anymore, and they kept happening, and I was like, this is fine, but I kind of already know everything I need to know. Like, there's nothing you can reveal in this flashback other than one or two twists that don't happen in the game, where I would be like, oh, interesting.
Did you like, because spoilers for our full campaign, you should watch it if you care about spoilers. If you don't, continue to watch this. We got all the flashbacks, so we actually got to see the final epilogue. This was actually my first time since I played this back in 2021 that I got that epilogue. Did you like the hit at the end where it was like there are multiple of these?
I loved that.
I thought that was actually a really good ending as well. This is my own little thought on this because I completely forgot about that. But that actually felt like the ending to a Lovecraftian short story, right?
100%.
Where it's like, wait a minute, this was just like we cut off one head of the Hydra, right?
Oh, that's a good point. I hadn't made that connection, but yeah, no, 100%. I really liked that. And it also, like, this scenario is very interesting because it focuses so much on creatures of the water and so much this idea of primordial water and terrifying water, but it's one reef. It's one reef and it's one town. It's one small place. That hit at the end is very like, yeah, the ocean's big.
Yeah.
The ocean's big, and there's a world out there.
Yeah.
And, like, you think you solved everything, but, like, the world goes on.
Yeah.
I liked
100%. That. Okay, I'm going to throw this to you, because I have a few things I want to touch on, and I want to ask you before we get into this. But I asked you, what do you think the greatest strengths were? What do you think were the big weaknesses for you in the campaign? If any at all. Like, you could say there were some minor ones. You don't need to be, like, big ones on this.
I would say one of the only real weaknesses of the campaign is the lack of focus on the town itself before it begins to fall apart. There's one scenario in specific where the town begins to be barricaded and becomes this labyrinth you have to run through. Incredible. Incredible flavor. It needed a little bit more time for us to be in the town to really get the full feel of it becoming this horrifying place.
Yeah. So, like, one more just, like, normal town scenario before things went crazy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I will say another weakness that I found was that this scenario, this whole structure, I think they tried to pack a lot into each individual location and each individual card, which is fine. But it means that characters with high movement are going to really crush this game, crush these scenarios. And it means that if you can find a way to shut off or ignore part of a card, the card doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There were more than a few times where we would go into rooms and we'd be like, oh, this room doesn't matter, I don't care.
Yeah.
And it was just a stepping stone to somewhere else, which is not something I've seen in a lot of other campaigns. There were a lot more rooms that we left clues on the table because we did not care.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. All right, I'm going to ask you some questions about some mechanics for this, and I'm going to try not to paint a picture too much about what the general sentiment is for them, because I'm curious to get yours, but I'll give you some context.
You just immediately start throwing up in your mouth.
Yeah. All right. A lot of people have a big issue with Innsmouth in the way that the XP is spaced out in this one. Did you even notice it? Is my first question.
I played Silas. There's no way I could have noticed XP generation because I did not need it.
Yeah, so
I needed 6 XP and then I got it and I was done.
So how this one works is you spend XP after scenario 1, after scenario 2, and then after scenario 4,
okay,
and then after scenario 5,
okay,
and then after scenario 7.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so a lot of people have issues with how it's structured because, so from what I gathered, the intention was that you're spending them before, like, whenever there's a flashback, you don't spend them because the idea is that you don't have those cards in your deck yet.
Of course.
But you still have the cards that you had in the previous the previous futures. But I figured as much that you wouldn't really notice that too much because I usually say, hey, Eric, you spend here, but maybe it's something you'll notice after you've had a bit more and you're like a bit more like wanting to upgrade your decks.
One thing I will also say is that like, listen, I am the world's biggest proponent of make it more unnecessarily complicated to make the flashbacks feel better sort of thing. But I will say from a game design perspective and from a player perspective, the idea that if you ever have to do a flashback, you might have to remove cards from your deck or go back to a previous version or play as if you don't have experience is probably not a good way to do it. I think that they were actually very smart to just say, yeah, whatever, you have those cards. I don't care. I think that overall they probably would have done better to just be like, yeah, whatever, you get XP, we don't care.
Yeah, just spend it like after each. Yeah, because from what I gathered, I don't know if this is actually truth. There was the original structure was kind of that you had 2 decks for this one. But I think they handled it, I agree, pretty all right. And I often say that I'd rather them try something crazy than just keep it normal all the time.
Yeah, but I will also say, like, XP is already non-diegetic. Like, your character is fighting in the jungle and magically gets a better gun. Your character is fighting in, I don't know, space and magically finds more rosaries.
Yeah.
Like, while I appreciate players being like, don't take me even further out of the gameplay loop, like, where are you getting this stuff? Like, and how does your emergency cash work? How does characters making money when you're in the middle of, sunken Ryla beneath the sea make any sense?
Yeah.
In my opinion, Arkham does a good job of separating, like, this is for the point of the game and the fun of the game mechanics, and this is what's actually happening in the story, and they're kind of 2 separate spaces.
Yeah.
So I will say, if your complaint is, like, but then it's not really XP. Yeah, it never was. Like,
yeah, no, I think it's interesting because there's the people who don't like it because a lot of people, their favorite part of Arkham is upgrading their decks.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of people they like progress, right? Like, a lot of people like leveling up their characters in D&D, but a lot of characters also like tackling a dungeon in D&D, right? And I think that's an interesting perspective to have when it comes to approaching the XP stuff. And I'm sure there are also people who are kind of more like lore focused that don't vibe with them on that one. So,
yeah.
All right. All of our tidal tunnels, the locations that kept showing up that were like repeated in multiple scenarios. Did you at all feel like the diversity there was a little bit flat on the tidal tunnels, or were you kind of okay with them?
Okay, so I did kind of bring this up in my comment about locations. I actually think that we needed less tidal tunnels, and the reason why was because with every tidal tumble, tip-top, tumble. Yeah. With every Tuttle Tumble that came up, we had this problem where you'd have 4 or 5 locations that were just rules dense. Everything needed to happen there. Every space needed to occur there. And everything else was just kind of an in-between space. And I did think that was a weakness. In previous Arkham scenarios, I've often felt like we have to explore every room. And we often want to hoover up the clues from every room, and it didn't feel like we had to this time. I feel like there was a lot of revealing rooms being like, this one sucks, let's leave.
Very fair. And the last one, you said that you liked how the mechanic of the flood kind of signposted what it was going to do. Did you feel like that was a successful mechanic in terms of mechanic, and then also like the flavor of the idea that water was rising and it was dangerous there?
Strongly, yes. Yeah. I think that the flood mechanic gets explored in at least 3 different ways that I saw. The standard flood mechanic, the city flooding, and then at one point we're in the tunnel, and the tunnels just slowly flood upwards.
And we sink down. You don't sink, like you don't drown, but you sink down in the tunnels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was all very clever and very well put together. I actually think that the flood mechanics were pretty much perfectly on point. They were so dangerous and so lethal that you had to avoid them. You could not tank them. You could not push your way through them. You absolutely had to go for it.
Yeah, you had to always be aware of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you weren't aware of it, it was going to kill you, but it wasn't going to kill you quickly. It largely was the flood mechanic felt like a secondary Doom mechanic that was done well. And I really liked that.
Nice.
I will say one of the scenarios as well, the boat scenario, was probably my favorite of their go to multiple different locations in a single scenario. I actually think they did an incredibly good job of it. And the driving one. Never mind. The driving... What am I saying? Yeah, so many of this. Okay, so... sorry, my brain is just snapping back in. Welcome back, brain. Some of the scenarios, weakness of the whole tidal tunnel thing. I will say Innsmouth does incredibly fun things with traditional Arkham horror scenario structures that they just took to the nth degree. The sinking down, the weird islands, the driving scene that was just so good. I did not know that you could make a driving challenge test mechanic that felt like a 2D side-scroller game.
Yeah.
That is just so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good.
Heck yeah. All right, so what we'll do now is we've kind of just talked about the general stuff. We're going to just go through scenario by scenario so Eric has a chance to kind of share their thoughts on those. We're going to start with Pit of Despair, the opening scenario. We get chucked into a pit. We explore it. It kind of grows depending on the direction you explore. It starts flooding, and then the amalgam shows up. And that guy, he's not that nice.
He's not nice. I thought it was good. Perfectly reasonable starting scenario. Did good to set up the whole situation. Was a good chance to explore flooding and avoiding flooding. Nothing special, though.
So an interesting thing that I find, we did very good in this campaign from scenario 1. But this campaign is very interesting because it actually, I agree, it's easy. It's on the same level of Dark Matter in terms of easiness and winning the campaign. But scenarios 1 and 3 are like the hard scenarios of the campaign, and it's a very different structure compared to everything else with it. And they also do so much. Could you imagine a campaign of Innsmouth where you don't get the flashbacks in the first one? You don't get to remove tokens. You don't get to get the extra XP, which is a very interesting kind of thing to have. We, of course, crushed it. So there is that.
That is a good point to bring up, though. My experience of Innsmouth was the easy mode of the game because we started winning, and that allowed us to snowball into winning.
Yeah, we got to add a second +1 into the bag. That's crazy powerful.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. After Pit of Despair, we went to the Vanishing of Eleanor Harper, where we're going around the city of Innsmouth and trying to find out where she is, go through the lead stack to get all that.
So I remember the first scenario now because we talked about it, and it's okay. This one is the one I actually thought was the start game, game. And it was good. I really liked it. This was more of what I wanted from the rest of Innsmouth Conspiracy.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the weirdness of it.
Yeah, you wanted another stop in Innsmouth to kind of explore it further.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. The Innsmouth Conspiracy board game for Shadow over Innsmouth, or whatever it was called for Arkham Horror 2nd Edition, was one of my favorite things. I just remember Mitch getting locked in the jail and how much they described it on the encounter cards of how dangerous it was in Innsmouth. It just stuck with me from that, so I totally respect that. However, we don't get to stay in Innsmouth long. We do Into Deep next, where we're trying to escape Innsmouth as it's barricaded up, and we have to go through the maze of the city.
So good. One of the best scenarios they have ever created. Incredible way to play with movement in their own scenario. Incredible way to actually feel like you're moving through a section of a city. So well put together. I want to design a tabletop role-playing game that steals a lot of structure from Fantasy Flight games. And that one with the barricades felt like they were leveling up from... Did it come out before or after Hemlock Vale?
Before.
That shocks me, because those barricades were so much better done in Innsmouth Conspiracy, in the way that they worked, in the way that they controlled movement and flow of the game. So much fun. Really also made you feel like you were slogging it through or finding ways to cheat. I quite liked it.
After that one, we went to Devil Reef, which you've already talked about briefly. This is the boat scenario going through all the islands.
Yeah, I guess they put just a lot of their really great scenario ideas just kind of all jam-packed in the middle.
I mean, you'd be surprised. We have 2 more scenarios that you also really enjoyed, so there's also some great ones still coming. I think that's the thing about Innsmouth. The scenarios are just good, and there's really only, depending on the person, maybe 1 or 2 stinkers.
Yeah. Yeah, the boat was so fun. The boat was also such a good heads up on how the vehicle mechanics were going to work down the road.
Yeah, it was a less stressful time to learn the mechanic of the vehicle.
At one point, I just went swimming, which also felt good. I really loved how the islands actually felt like individual spaced out locations that you could then go down into.
Yeah.
That was really weird and complicated and cool. I loved it. I thought it was great.
After that, we went to Horror in High Gear, the car scenario, which we know you also liked.
Horror in High Gear is probably one of the best scenarios that they've ever created in terms of just feeling. Like, it's got the mouthfeel. It's got the juice.
It's got the juice. After Horror in High Gear, we have A Light in the Fog, where we explore the lighthouse, then we go underneath it, and we get locked in with Mr. Osiris Marsh.
Absolutely fucking trash.
You didn't like that one?
We didn't go up into the lighthouse.
We did. I did.
Yeah, I didn't. It's terrible. No, I love lighthouses. So I loved this scenario. I thought it was great. It really felt fun to go down into the lighthouse, and it was another classic Arkham, like, find the hidden door in the basement and go down into the weird shed.
Yeah.
And it was fun. It was good. I thought it had a lot of elements. We did kind of accidentally beat up the scenario instead of feeling the real terror of it.
Yeah, we had a very good run here. Yeah, which I think was deserved after some of our previous campaigns. So we deserved a nice, like, crush and stomp. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that scenario was fine. I expect better from a lighthouse. I really like them.
Yeah, you have high standards for lighthouses.
I do.
Yeah. After that, we go to Lair of Dagon. This is when we did the Esoteric Order of Dagon. And is it called Lair of Dagon? What's it called? Is it called Lair of Dagon? Why is that one just blanking on me?
Hair of the Dagon.
This one we had to go into the Esoteric Order, and we had to... we eventually went down to the basement. It is called the Lair of Dagon. I don't like this scenario, so that's why I always forget the name.
That's fair. I think it was fine. This is the one where we first see...
Dagon.
That was a cool moment.
Yes, that is a neat moment.
The Dagon slumbering was done well.
Yeah.
The order up top was fine. That's the one where we wandered around the house, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I say something real sad?
Yeah, you can.
This is the second weird old manor I've wandered around out of 3. And, like, they're bad. Why is it that Arkham Horror is bad at doing mansions?
Yeah, well, it's because it's Mansions of Madness has all the...
Okay, well, that makes sense.
There, yeah.
All the people who are good at it. But, like, Circle Undone has a mansion that feels incredibly boring when you deal with a ghost. This one almost felt like the exact same scenario, just fish-flavored. And the only time they've done a good mansion is the first time in Circle Undone when we had to deal with all the creepy rats. Was that Circle Undone? Or was that...
Circle Undone had when we did the secret name, and we eventually started to go to other worlds, but it opens with a mansion.
Yeah.
Like an abandoned house.
Am I thinking the Dream Eaters has...
The Dream Eaters, Thousand Shapes of Horror, that one has a mansion. Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah, you like that one. Yeah.
That's the good one.
Yeah.
How is it?
How's that one? How did they just can't do it?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's because it's just, like, static, right?
True.
It's just very static. And, like, the reason why I don't like Lair of Dagon is because it commits, in my opinion, the biggest sin that a scenario can commit: be dull.
Yeah.
Right? It's not dynamic. It's not, like, interesting. You eventually get through halfway, and then you just set up the tidal tunnels again.
Yeah.
The Dagon reveal is cool, I'll admit that.
The Dagon reveal is cool.
Yeah, and I'm not even bothered by the fact that this is something that might change your perspective on the scenario you approach it next time. Would you realize that the game beats you by just slowing you down? There's actually very little threat in that scenario. The big hits are there's curse tokens and obstacles. Yeah. So it's like not even like a fun sort of challenge that comes with it. But after Lair of Dagon, we go into the Maelstrom, which is the final scenario of the campaign, which starts with some tidal tunnels, but then goes into Yanath Lake proper, where we get to go around and kind of just explore that.
I thought it was good. I thought it was. I mean, it's very much as we've talked about already. It was a very, if you've won in the past parts of the campaign, you're going to do really well in the first. I mean, in this one, I thought it was pretty interesting. I thought it was a bit empty. I would love to play an Innsmouth where the Ancient Ones are a little bit more active, because they just sleeping.
Yeah. So what's funny is because we did so good in Lair of Dagon, normally Dagon wakes up. So normally, like, he's up the second he reveals and he starts chasing you down. And then the idea is that halfway through, Mother Hydra also starts chasing you down. So you have to deal with another threat chasing you. But that didn't happen for us. That one also has been kind of... Do you remember ages ago we did that one thing where we did the refraction of Undimension and Unseen, where we had 5 broods in play at the start?
Yes.
They made a similar thing for that scenario to make it harder, where if the Ancient Ones are ever evaded, they automatically ready. So you actually can't lock them down, which makes them a little bit more present. But reality is that the map is big. There's a lot of options for movement. It's like kind of just too like well designed on that part that it makes it so that the stress is kind of a little bit lower because of that.
Well, and I also feel that like Innsmouth feels like a snowball in one direction or the other. Either you start winning or the campaign starts winning. I think that if you're going to design a snowball, it's important to make it a player facing snowball, because this isn't something like Kingdom Death. You don't immediately end a campaign and just rerun the same scenario or the same scenario or campaign again. And I think if they made this one harder, I don't know how it would do. I don't know how much fun it would be. Yeah.
All right. So then, in closing, I guess before us, is there anything else you want to say? Or do you think we covered all your thoughts on it?
The choice to have the fledglings and the mothers was messed up, and I applaud them. That was really cool. The sense that there was a deep one ecology and the fact that they actually played into it was really messed up, and I applaud it. I hope they do more of that.
That was the first scenario that was like head designed by the current lead designer who did Hemlock. So, yeah, I like it. I think it was. I agree, because it's kind of fucked up that like there's all this perspective where, you know, like the game's very pulpy, but then suddenly you're like popping baby deep ones like the shrimp in you like opening of District 9, you know, like when they're cooking all the eggs, right? And you like, it really kind of puts in perspective of this is, there's like, we're doing something that maybe is not great here.
Yeah, like this is an actual species. These are actual creatures.
Yeah. I also think we actually didn't kill a baby in our run. I think we evaded them and left them. Maybe you killed one of them.
I think I killed one baby, and then I killed all the mothers I met.
No, I think we only had one mother and we never killed her.
That's right. Yeah, okay, that makes me feel better.
Yeah, but we killed... I didn't kill the babies. I left them where they were.
I squished one baby, I think.
Yeah, just for fun. You're like, I could evade you and walk away, but I'm going to squish you. I just need you to know this. All right. Where do you think it fits in on your little thing here?
I would say it's at or below Dunwich Legacy.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like, so it's in your top 3.
Yeah, it's definitely my top 3. I think it's got some better scenarios than Dunwich Legacy, but I don't think anything will ever compare to the absurd and insane ending of Dunwich Legacy, of you just chasing around the horrors, trying to stop them from wrecking the entire countryside.
Yeah.
And I think that there were creep out elements of Dunwich Legacy that were done better than this one. And I still haven't played a scenario where it feels like we can befriend a faction or we can change the story materially in regards to the NPCs the way you can with the mob. The way that the mob can eventually just become a non-issue because you were nice to them is like great.
Sweet. All right. Well, I don't know when it's going to hit the channel, but we are going to be continuing the blind runs here with Edge of the Earth, where Edge of the Earth is very interesting. I don't want to paint a picture. I think the scenarios in it are very good, but I don't like what's around the scenarios. So I'm very curious to see how that fits for you.
You're just going to like open up a box and it's just a whole bunch of human hair.
Yeah.
And then the scenario cards.
I just don't like that my box is filled with human hair.
Yeah,
doesn't really vibe with me. But other than that, I don't know when that's going to be coming, because Eric and I are going to kind of just start recording some other stuff. We're going to finish Earthborn Rangers, start the new Earthborn Rangers, play some Heroes of Might and Magic board game again, because I'm about to get all the new other factions coming up pretty soon. So we're going to be doing that. So there's going to be a little bit of a sabbatical for the content for gameplay. But we'll try to do some list videos, and then maybe a standalone could be good, because we still have that the Wilson Richards one. That was like we built for standalone, the Mr. Consistent. So we'll build one more. Maybe we'll do like a standalone scenario. Eric can just sink their teeth into more just like Arkham play. Right?
I'd love that.
But Edge of the Earth will come. I just don't know when it's going to be. So just something to keep in mind. But in the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was a very fun campaign. I think we got a win, and it was a very fun win, and it was nice to get one after kind of getting crushed, especially in Hemlock, where we lost the final scenario in like 30 minutes.
Oh.
I've still blamed myself for that one quite a bit, so I showed up on this one, though, which was great.
Oh, you did.
And you did too. Like I said, I think in your deck retrospective, I think that was the best deck you've built. And then I know Silas. He's my favorite investigator. I've played him probably like 20 times. So
Oh, wow.
that's coming from a true place. So
One day I'll be that, but with Luke Robinson.
amen. Amen. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.